Well, everybody, welcome to church. Welcome to St. Andrew's Day, especially today. You know, in our church, this particular congregation, we're pretty flexible with our music. I mean, we can play a lot of different stuff in church. Everything from gospel music to operatic kind of music to this kind of Celtic music. So, enjoy the day. And if you don't like today's music, it'll be different next week. And you can appreciate the diversity amongst us, right? We're diverse in so many ways. Diverse in terms of, everything, but music too. How many of you today noticed this is like one of the coldest days of the year, wasn't it? It was chilly last night. We actually put our heat on in the house for the first time in probably 10 months. And if you walked into church up the stairs from the parking lot, there are two ways to get into the building. That way, the way most people come in, did you notice all the stuff on the ground, all the acorns? Our church is lined in that area with all kinds of oak trees. And for weeks now, they've been dropping these acorns. This is like the bumper crop of acorns. And every week we clean them off, but every time we go back, there's more. And you step on them and you kind of roll on them a little bit. And you make a whole bunch of essentially acorn dust out there. You have to drive your car over it. In any case, I'm sure it comes with the cooling of the temperatures in this time of year. And they seem like they're endless. They just keep coming. But not really until they're ready. They're on the tree, but as soon as they're ready, a little wind, and they all come down. There was something similar to that, although a different season in the year, where I grew up in my house in the Virginia area, northern Virginia. It wasn't during the fall that I'm thinking of, but it was actually during the summer. We had a big mulberry tree in our backyard, and it overhung a whole corner of our backyard. And the mulberries would come for a long period of time, maybe a whole month or so during the summer. And there was a progression. They would start off at these little hard green bumps. That was the berry. But as it warmed up and they matured, they changed color. First they got red, then they got purple, and then when they're almost black, these mulberries, they would drop off the tree. Or that's when they were perfect to pick anyway. It just so happened, by the way, that corner of the backyard was full of squirrels. Squirrels could feast on mulberries for a month at a time. We had some fat squirrels in my house. But it was right when they got almost black that they would almost fall into your hands. If you just touched them, you didn't have to pick them. You just kind of touch them and they'll come off their little stem. Because they were ripe and they were ready. Like the acorns that are coming off now. If you go shake one of the branches, some will come off because this is the time for them to come. When you heard the story from the Bible today about the brothers that Jesus met, and he says to them, while he's walking along this big lake where they were fishing, two sets of brothers, I guess they had a business there, family business. You had Andrew, our saint today, and his more famous brother, Peter. Then the other ones belonged to, their dad's name was Zebedee. What a funny name, Zebedee. But James and John were from that family. And as soon as, you notice, I'm sure, when we read the story, as soon as he says, "Come follow me," both sets of brothers, it says immediately, without delay and quickly, they leave their boats and their nets, and one left their dad in the boat, and they follow him right away. And there's no manipulation. There's not a lot of talk about it. No one's arguing about, "You really should come follow me," or, "You know what, if you don't follow me, you're going to go to hell." I didn't hear that part, actually. So, the point is, they came right away. And I want to make the connection. They came right away because they were ready to come. It was their time to follow. It was easy time for them to make a response to the call, and their response came easily and quickly and completely. As if they were like the acorns, just ready to fall off the tree and go follow Christ. Or they were just perfectly timed so that when he called, like the mulberries, they just fell off the tree and went. It was their time. They were ready. They were ripe. Ripe for the picking. Jesus had not a lot of discussion. He says, by the way, I'm sure he had connections with them before this time. Everybody wonders, did he just really just walk up to 4 strangers and say, hey, you want to go for a walk? No, I'm sure the back of the story is they know each other from before. But the reason they're able to follow right away with such enthusiasm, without any hesitation, because they're ripe and ready to go. I wanted to share one little part that's not in the Bible. This is strictly from David. I'm going to fill in a blank and answer the question, how is it that someone gets ready to follow? How is it they become ripe? How is it they are prepared so that when the call comes, they naturally follow? And my answer to that is pretty simple. Most of us are ripened and become ready and prepared to make a change when we hear the call, because we are actually in a place where we are not comfortable. We are uncomfortable. We have a need in life. Or to put it more starkly, we are suffering from something. Something is not right. Therefore, when the answer comes, it says, come follow me. You can say, you know what? I think it's time. It's finally time. I'm ready to go. I know there are several counselors in this congregation, or people who have been to counseling. You know when someone goes to counseling and tries to make a change in their life? When their life is falling apart. They don't go when life is hunky-dory. They go when, you know what? Something is wrong with this ride right now, and I need to get some help. I need to make a change. So, in those life of the disciples, you talk about Andrew and Peter, James and John. There was something already in them, in their life, that had ripened them, had prepared them. So when Jesus says, you know what? It's time to make a change in your life. Come follow me. I know you've been fishermen for a long time. I will make you fish for people. And they said, good. It's time to make that change. I will come now. So in a funny way, although it's a little rough to hear, when things are not quite right in your life and you feel like you're at a pinch point, and then things have kind of closed down, and things have gotten harder, and there's even more suffering perhaps, more pain of some variety, that's when you're most apt to make a change. In fact, when people come to me in my office, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and they say, I want to talk about something in my life. The truth is, they're really not ready to come to see me to make a change unless they have some pretty extreme situation going on. If everything's really okay and they just want to kind of come in and complain, they'll complain and leave the same way they left. But if things are really serious and the temperature in their life has kind of got to the boiling point and there is a crisis involved and they're ripened and ready and prepared by the suffering in their life, well, now they're really going to make a change. So that's what I think is happening to those disciples. And the reason they can say, okay, let's go, because they are ready and ripened. They are ready to fall off the tree. They're ready to make a change. So, to apply this in just 2 simple ways, in general ways, I want to leave you with this. When you see people in your life and you wish they would make a change, maybe a spiritual one, maybe a regular life change, but when you see someone and you're worried about their spiritual life, when will they get their life together with God? When will they come to church? When will they try to find a different path than the one they're on? I want to encourage you and say, God will ripen them in God's own time. When it's their time, they will come. When they're ready, they'll be ready. You don't have to worry quite so much. When it's their time and they're ripe, and they've got to a place in their life where they need to make a change, well then it'll be easy. There'll be no manipulation. You don't have to bribe them. You don't have to coerce them. You don't have to nag them. You don't have to pray anymore for them. You say, you know what? It's going to happen. No one, they may be lost, but they're never lost to God. That's the great thing about our God. One of the great things. No one's ever lost to God. God knows where they're at, what they're up to. When it's the right time for them, they will make their decisions. On the second item is this. If you're in a place now where life isn't really as smooth as you want it to be, where things are getting a little tight, where the stress is getting high, you're coming to some kind of a crisis, or things are really not working exactly right, this might be a great time for you to be open and vulnerable and in a place where you are malleable and God can make changes in your life now, whereas if before you were not ready, you were not prepared enough, you were not ripe enough, there still had to be more preparation done. But if you're in a place now, you say, you know what, this is a good time to make that change, to hear God calling, and you're at a place where you can respond quickly and easily and say, okay, now I'm ready. God, let's go. What's the next thing for me in my life? What's the next direction you'd like me to go? What's the next part of my discipleship? I have suffered long enough, and now I'm ready to make that change. Suffering ripens us like nothing else can. So on this day when we remember our patron Saint Andrew, and you see how quickly he responded along with his brother and how completely he said, okay, it's time to go, answered yes. I think it was because he was ripe and ready. And it was time to follow Jesus. And in your life and the life of your friends, the ripening is always going on. Just waiting for it to get just to the fullest. And then you and I and the people you are worried about, they will fall off the tree right into God's hands. And it'll be good. I offer this to you in God's name, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.